This video demonstration is designed to give you an overview of the Backup Exec 2010 archival option, with an emphasis on Exchange mailbox archiving. In this demonstration, you will see how to set up and configure an archival job, how a Backup Exec administrator can restore individual files, individual emails or email boxes, and how an individual user can access their own archived items for restoration to their desktop. In order to start an archival job, you simply go to the Job Setup tab in the Backup Exec GUI and choose to start a new archival job. When you do so, you will get a warning stating that all archive selections must be backed up before they can be archived. This is because Backup Exec 2010 runs its archival jobs against backup jobs. Therefore, if there is no backup data for the Exchange server or file server you wish to archive items from, you cannot do an archival job. For Exchange selections, you will get a listing of all Exchange servers within the environment. You have the ability to choose your destination. In this case, we're using the Vault store that we created called Vault, although if you have created additional Vault stores for archival data, you can use a drop-down menu to designate those as well. You have the ability to give the job a specific name and designate whether you would like to archive from encrypted backup data, and determine how recent the data you archive from has to be. Specific to Exchange, you can assign a system mailbox for Backup Exec to have access to that data to archive. And if you have designed any mailbox groups, you have the ability to, through your domain, to go ahead and access those email box groups. In this case, we have one group created called Drivers. And within the Drivers email group, you can see that all of the people that are designated to be within this group are actually Formula One or Rally drivers. You have the ability to determine your retention category for these groups. You can create any retention category that you like. By default, the retention period for archive data will be set at infinite, although you do have the ability to determine a certain period of time, whether that be in days, weeks, months, or years. For archival rules, you have the ability to determine how old items have to be before they are archived, again, in days, weeks, months, or years. And you have the ability to also do a combination of item size as well as item age, in order to give archival priority to larger items. Finally, you can determine whether you would like to archive only messages with attachments or not, and whether you would like to archive email messages that have been unread. Finally, you have the ability to schedule your archival jobs. In this particular case, we would only run a single job. However, you can determine a specific date and time to run your archival job, or, using a graphical menu system, determine how frequently you would like these jobs to run. Once an archival job has been completed, the need often arises to restore items that have been archived. The Backup Exec administrator has the ability to do this on an individual file level, individual email level, or mailbox level. If we choose to restore items from the archive, first we determine our selections. In this particular case, the need has arisen to restore the administrator's email box. We determine whether we would like to redirect those Exchange sets to an alternate server, and or determine whether we want to redirect a mailbox restore to an alternate mailbox. In general settings, much like the archival job, we have the ability to determine our job name and also to determine whether we want to restore over existing files, to skip the restore process if the file already exists, or to overwrite the file on disk only if it is older than what we are trying to restore. Specific to Microsoft Exchange, we have the ability to determine if we want to restore individual email messages over existing messages. And finally, much like the archival job task, we have the ability to schedule, whether it's a one-time run now job or run on date and time job, or using the same graphical menu system, determine how frequently we would like to conduct these restorations. For an individual user to restore items from an email archival job, the process is slightly different. An individual user has the ability to access their archive through the Backup Exec Retrieve console. In this case, the administrator has the need to go ahead and restore an individual item. Once the Backup Exec Retrieve console loads, they'll have the ability to search for files they wish to restore in a number of different ways. In this particular case, you have the ability to browse email simply by looking in the email box for items, in the inbox for items that have been archived, or the sent items box for items that have been archived. You can search for email via keyword search. And you can do much the same for files as well. Search for files via keyword search, or browse files. Keep in mind that for both email and file system archiving, you can get more granular in your search by designating part of file name or email name, determining the start and end date for your search. In this particular case, the administrator wishes to restore a single item to the desktop, an email. They will designate that email, and they can, one, preview it to ensure it is the email that they do in fact want to restore. And once they've determined that that email is in fact what they would like to restore, they can go ahead and retrieve that email. By default, the email would be restored to the user's desktop, although you have the ability to go in and designate any location on the computer where the individual user is running the Backup Retrieve console. In this particular case, we will go ahead and give the file a name and save it to the desktop. Once the item has been saved to the desktop, we can go ahead and go back to the desktop to confirm that it is in fact there. Finally, should the archive become congested with items that are no longer needed, the Backup Exec administrator has the ability to go in and delete items from the archive. They can choose first which selections they would like to go ahead and delete. And you can be as granular as the individual email box or individual email folders within those email boxes. For general settings, again, you can give the deletion job a name and determine whether you would like it to be a one-time run or run based on a schedule using the graphical menu system that we've seen earlier. Keep in mind that when an item has actually been archived and Backup Exec confirms that an email or file has been archived to the vault that is chosen for it, Backup Exec will then go back to the production hardware and delete that item from the production hardware. This has been an overview of the Backup Exec 2010 archival option. Thank you.